Hi.
What am I even supposed to say? What do I even say in this situation?
Say whatever
It's
you want,
somebody
I
who's
suppose.
obviously looking for some kind of reaction on Omegle or whatever. If they're just
Not
fishing for
particularly.
reaction, they've
No,
got
not
a green
particularly.
screen. They've got their name superimposed on the front of it before their face, but after their green screen, they're obviously using like OBS or XSplit, and they're just like, "Let's ride."
Exactly. You got me down to a T.
Well, no, I don't have you down to a T because what I don't get is what's the end goal here, Chief?
What's the end goal? It's I don't know if you'd understand it, but it's more of just like education slash exposure to people who are bigoted.
What does that mean?
So like people who are hateful, discriminatory, etc.
Well, am I discriminatory
Not as of yet.
based
I
on
don't
my
know.
reaction?
No. It's more of a comical like, oh, this person's very extra and they have this whole green screen set up like, oh, that's
All right.
something I've never seen before.
Really, Queen?
What? Are you bigoted? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm just very confused on what you look to gain from this situation here.
Well, I do
It
recordings and
doesn't make
stuff.
any sense.
It's more of a marketing thing, if anything. I don't know if you know much about
So
marketing, but
this is what I don't get. Hold on, real quick. Hold on. I'm actually gonna. So let me get this straight. You're looking to do something. No, I didn't mute you guys. You're looking to do something in which you look at people for being bigoted, and then you just said that it's also a marketing thing. So you're not looking to gain anything from it other than a consumer or municipal value, right? You're monetizing on it rather than
not
getting a
really.
moralistic stance from it. You
No,
can't have one or the other. That doesn't make
there's
any
no
sense.
monetary gain on it.
But you just said that you're marketing it.
There are points like obviously there's
Marketing is for a monetary gain.
if you talk to 100 people in a night, not everybody's gonna do the same.
Well, that would be surveying or getting response from people. That's not marketing.
Sure, then that we'll call it
I'm not
that.
I'm not trying to catch you in words or anything like that. But well, that's what I don't understand. Marketing would be that you would get something from it, right?
I suppose because like, well, I meet people who are genuinely interested in knowing what I do, get to know what I'm doing, and then they'll be like, "Can I follow you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, go for it."
So you get like a financial gain from this kind of thing or something like that. Is that what you mean by marketing?
Not particularly. I'm more of a community builder. So like
I don't know what that
I'm
means.
assuming based on your setup that you know what Twitch is.
Well, based on my setup, I do know what Twitch is, but it's not based on my setup.
Okay, what is your setup based on?
That I like good audio.
Oh, interesting. So you don't do any recording or content creation of your own?
Well, that doesn't matter. But my thing is that
What do
like
you
I
mean it
have a
doesn't
nice.
matter?
Well, I have a digital analog audio converter. What do I have that for?
I don't know.
Because I like audio. I like music. I
Okay.
also have a preamp and a DAC. What I have that for? Because I like
I don't know.
audio and I like music.
It sounded as if though you were talking for an audience when you first
Well,
came
I
on
was
here.
talking to my two friends,
Oh, okay, I see.
which is just I'm not talking to an audience or anything like that. But
Okay.
what I'm saying is that like whether or not I do those things are irrelevant. Like I just don't understand.
Okay. Well, I'm a Twitch
It's
streamer,
not for a
drag
gain.
performer. Well, like I'm a Twitch streamer, drag performer,
Well,
so
then it's
like
for
I
a gain.
not particularly. You have to think there is a gain attached to it, yes, but there's two types of
It
gain.
is for a
Obviously,
monetary gain if it is for your Twitch stream.
there's a monetary gain, but then there's also a different type of
But you
gain.
just said that it was not for a monetary gain. You said that it was not for a financial gain of any way, shape, or form, but
What
is
I'm
for
doing here on Omegle,
monetary.
yeah.
You are
What I,
monetizing on it, are you not?
not on Omegle. $0 on Omegle.
Yes, obviously not on Omegle. Omegle is a open source freeform platform, correct?
Yeah.
So on your Twitch, which is not an open source freeform platform, one that you can monetize on, which you just said that it's relating to, so that way you can advertise for it, you're getting a monetary gain, are you not?
I mean, it's a small side feature. So like if I'm on here and people are like, "Oh, you're a gamer? You stream? Cool. Maybe I'll follow you." And then on to the next person. The next person might not have any interest in
You're
it at all,
indirectly
and I won't even bring
profiting.
it up.
You're indirectly profiting from it. Can I see your tattoo real quick though?
But this one,
You're yeah.
flower.
That's nice. I like that. It's got really good lines. I like the bold lines. See, regardless of whether or not you think that I'm a shitty person, I am
I don't
actually
think so. I
interested in what's
don't.
going on with this.
I
But
don't
what I
think you're a
think
shitty
that
Wait,
this is just really fucked.
I don't think you're a shitty person. You sound like you know what you're talking about. You definitely sound educated. You're very abrupt in what you say, though. Like, well, not abrupt. What's the word? Forward.
Brash, brazen.
Brash. Sure. Yeah. Sure.
But yeah,
That.
forward's fine too. I'm down with that. Why not?
But you look like you're also looking to cause like a
Nope.
clash in some way.
I'm a drunk guy who sees somebody who is making a monetary gain indirectly, using their whatever you want to
Well,
call
what kind
it.
of monetary gain do you think I'm getting from this? Like, if I
You
get
just
one
said that it's
follower,
advertising for your Twitch, correct?
yeah, but if I get one follower who might subscribe, that's literally $2.
Here's the deal. Advertising for your Twitch is monetary gain, is it not? This is my thing, all right? Okay, all right. You want to know that, like, you're just like, he's very forward and he's brash and all this other stuff, right?
Okay.
That is hypocritical right there. You're being very hypocritical in saying that. You're saying that
Why?
you're not getting a monetary gain while you were indeed getting a monetary gain for it, which means that you're not in it for whatever the fuck you say it
No,
is for. So then
because
right off the bat, right swinging off the bat, I'm just like, well, this is a bunch of bullshit. This
yeah, but
doesn't
you're not
make
even
any
really letting
sense.
me talk. That's the thing that's kind of annoying.
Because you already caught yourself in a lie.
No, because what I was talking about is that you thought I was doing, and you asked me if I'm doing Omegle like this for a monetary gain. No, I am not. Do I do my Twitch specifically when
You
I go
just
on live?
stated that it is
When
for
I
an
go live?
indirect monetary gain
Okay, what you want to?
to
Are we
direct
talking
people to your
semantics? Are we
Twitch.
talking semantics here?
No, that's not semantics at all. That's
It
not
sounds
even
like
close
it.
to semantics. No, that's nowhere near semantics.
Okay.
You just stated that you're advertising on one platform for a separate platform in which you gain a monetary gain. Is that not indirect profiting?
It's a secondary characteristic.
No. That is indirect profiting. A secondary characteristic would be within a platform in which you do, and that would be semantics if you want to get really technical. I'm not trying to catch you in some bullshit.
It
It's just
sounds
that
like you
I
are.
caught you in something, so I'm
No,
immediately
you
just like,
haven't. That's the thing. I come on here specifically on Omegle with the goal to talk to people, have conversations, talk politics, talk LGBTQIA rights, talk about racial rights and all that stuff.
what do you think about the high suicide rate within the trans community?
I'm very aware of it. Why?
Well, that's not whether or not you're aware of it is relevant to me. What do you think about it?
I think it's unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate.
Okay, and so like, what are you pulling that fact on me for?
I'm not pulling it on anything. I'm asking what you generally think about it because you refuse to get over the understanding that advertising on one platform to gain on another platform is
But you keep
indirectly
saying
profiting. But that, regardless of that, so we'll move on to that, and I will ask you a question which I am truly interested about. So it's not a catch me. It's not like a ha ha gotcha moment. I'm honestly asking you what you think about that. It's
Well,
high. It's the high. They have the highest demographic.
yeah.
Their suicide rate is the highest of any demographic in the world. So
And it probably
I was
will be
asking
for
what
the
you think
rest
about
of
that.
it probably will be for
Yeah.
forever because it's very unfortunate for somebody who is born in a male body who identifies as a female or vice versa to not be able to either gain access to medical or scientific technology to be able to help them with that, disapproving family members, etc., or people in community and society.
I disagree with that.
Why? You
Because
literally
all of society has a monthly, they have a whole month where they, change their flags and they talk nothing about how much they support those rights. Even Sophia Narwitz stated that, one of the largest trans speakers in the trans community is like, who's, against that, is that the system advertises, whether or not it be for monetary gain or regardless, every year.
Okay.
So what I don't understand is that they're obviously accepted.
No.
I mean, I accept them.
That's good for you, but I'd say for one person accepting, there's at least 40 people who don't.
Well, what I'm saying is that the entire system accepts them.
The entire system.
Yes. Where do you live?
Canada.
Okay, so you live in Canada. Canada is a very accepting place. Have you ever been to LA? You ever been to California?
San Diego ones.
Okay. San Diego specifically actually has a march 3 times a year, do they not?
I don't know. I've never heard of it.
Well, California is one of the most accepting places in the world. Also, New York, Philadelphia.
Right.
So, what I don't understand is that you have an entire group that has a march for them constantly every year for more than a month. They change their flags, and all commercials talk incessantly and nonstop about how this group is accepted, should be accepted, and how powerful and strong they should be. I don't think that they're not accepted.
Well, I guess you know more than I do about trans people. So,
Well, no, I don't know more than you do. When I'm making a counterpoint to your point.
well, I'm saying you've never lived the life of a trans person, and you would never really know how hate plays in a day-to-day life.
Be
Just
being
because a big
dismissive
corporation, just
being
because
dismissive of my point doesn't change it.
meaning,
You're being dismissive of it. You using an anecdotal piece of information to be like, that doesn't matter.
well, because you're generalizing, you're
I'm not
overgeneralizing.
generalizing by any
You're
means.
you're blanketing the whole thing. Like, trans people should not kill themselves because people say they accept and they have 3 marches a year. If they have 3 marches a year, they shouldn't be
No, no,
killing
no, no, no,
themselves.
no. I'm saying that those specific, I was using those as an example for those small places. I mean, they're not small. They're actually some of the biggest marches in the world for that
Right.
group. But what I am stating is just that in America and in Canada, I mean, Justin Trudeau never shuts the fuck up about how accepting Canada is of minority, sexual,
It's not true
gender,
though.
and
Literally not true though. Like, you can't speak on behalf of every single Canadian citizen.
is the system oppressing you at that point if the system never shuts up about how accepting they are?
Well, they're like creating a false pretense, I'd say.
Well, I could agree with that. I think they're doing it for monetary value. I don't think they actually give a fuck.
Okay.
No, no, I agree with you. That's common ground.
Right.
I guess my thing is that
I don't know what your angle is. It's just like you're
there is
so
no
abrasive.
angle.
It's just like anything that I say, it sounds like you're trying to like say
There is
something
no angle.
opposite.
Well, no, no, no. I didn't just say there's anything opposite right there. I just agreed with you.
Okay. But I mean,
I
like,
didn't
well,
come
what
up
if
with any counterpoint. I didn't say anything abrasive. I didn't do anything like that. I agreed with you. Did I not?
yeah.
See, this is the problem, all right? I can already tell that you're really shit at this, if you want to be honest. Because right
not.
here, no, you are. Because right here, I did find common ground, and we are talking in a normal way. But my thing is that even when I were to, you're just going to be like, oh, that's. I feel like that guy's being an asshole.
You've already created. I'm not saying that you're an asshole. I don't think that. Like I said,
No,
I
no,
just
I
think
am.
that you're
That's okay.
abrasive and forward, and you don't a lot of
being very
opportunity
blunt
for,
isn't a bad thing.
and so you just talk over me. That's what I'm talking about. You
I
have like a
am
very
because what you're saying is stupid.
what I
Being
see
very
is a very
blunt is not a bad
narcissistic,
thing.
a very narcissistic thing.
No, no, it's not narcissistic at all. Because what you're saying is that you were asking me what angle I had when I agreed with you.
Yeah, because it's like disagree, trying to point out flaws, whatever, and then all of a sudden you're agreeing. It's like, see, I agreed with you. See, everything's great. It's like,
because I agreed
okay.
with you. What would you prefer me to do? Just to disagree with you on that point too?
Well, you might as well.
Maybe I
That's what you've
agreed
been doing
with
the entire
you.
conversation.
Maybe I agreed with you because I agreed with you.
Okay. You're so confusing.
I'm not confusing. I'm just a genuine, honest fucking person. I agreed with you because I agreed with you. There's no angle.
Okay, I believe you.
There's no angle to play there. I agreed with you.
I just said I believe you.
No, no, no. I'm just saying that
you're continuing, and I just said I believe you. I don't know.
I believe. Well, I'm trying to, emphasize on this.
For what?
I believe that
agreed
corporation.
I believe on you. That's what I'm saying.
I believe that corporations do that kind of thing so that they can monetize on that community. I don't think that's right.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, as well as governments.
Yeah.
You know, it's fucked up. That's not cool.
Okay.
I think they do that to many demographics. That's not cool.
Yes. And I don't know like how that translates over to the initial question of trans suicide rates.
Well, my thing is that I think a lot of people are pushed into um, transitioning that otherwise wouldn't, to be honest.
Okay, and why do you
And
think that?
because there's an entire system that we were just talking about before that doesn't care about them, that purely wants to monetize on them, and then they go, oh yes, this is the way. Personally, I know, I mean, I know, well, that's anecdotal, you know, everybody like knows somebody or whatever, but there's, you know, we won't go into that. There's plenty of people that have transitioned who have later regretted it and then stated that, you know, every time that I had doubts, I was pushed to further this and, like, you know, keep going. And then I realized that this wasn't for me. And don't get me wrong, it's okay that it is for somebody, it's some people. I'm not saying that it can't be or anything like that. I'm not against that by any means. But I am saying that I think that the suicide rate is extremely high because there are a lot of people that it's not for them
I
and
don't.
they
That's
just
not
get
the. That
pushed
I
through
don't.
to it.
No, I don't. I don't agree with that. I think that the suicide rate relates specifically to people who feel conflicted and don't feel like they can actually go through with the transition, and feel like they don't have appropriate access medically or in terms of support from their immediate families, etc., where they completely get exiled and outcast from their families. I think that's where,
There's
because like
dilation services in every state now.
if there's people who literally just don't want to transition, then just don't transition. I don't think that's cause for suicide.
But as a group, they push people to transition that wouldn't normally do so.
Who's pushing who?
The trans community.
How so?
The trans community has shut down many places that were for a like, you know, many a help group that were for people who realized that after their transition they wanted to transition back and that this wasn't for them, and they just, and just as I was saying before, that anytime that they had doubts they were, you know, keep going, it's okay, and then they realized that it wasn't for them. Like that's fucked up.
Okay,
That's
well that
ideological subversion. That's not cool.
I can neither agree or disagree with that because that's more of a fact check. Like I'd have to look that up myself to be able to see if
Well,
that's true or not.
anytime anybody fact checks anything, the fact checkers decide what facts are true or not. You know, do your own research and all that stuff. It's not really, I mean, even on, like, I fucking hate Joe Rogan. I think Joe Rogan is some bald, fence sitting asshole. But even he and I forget what his name is, but they had a conversation about it. And they were like, you know, what about these places that were completely shut down and stuff, that were services for, you know, the trans community, for people that were having issues transitioning,
Well, I mean,
and they
like,
were shut down.
what kind of services would you need to stop?
What do you mean? No, I don't want them to stop them,
No, but I mean, I'm saying if somebody actively wants to stop the transition,
because it doesn't fit their narrative.
what doesn't fit whose narrative?
It would not fit the trans community's narrative. People want to transition back.
But I mean, like that doesn't make sense. Like if, because obviously I am transitioning and I'm trans,
And
okay.
that's okay. That's cool.
But if if I went down the road, which I won't because I know where I'm at, um, if I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stop hormones, boom, done. I stop
It
hormones.
doesn't work like that.
Why
You
doesn't
know
it work
that it
like
doesn't
that?
work like that. When you
I mean,
stop hormones, it simply does not work like that. You've done
why?
irreversible damage to your standard hormone
I mean,
structure.
it's
And
not
that's okay.
damage.
You've changed physically with no return. And that's okay.
There's minor things that don't return.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that you said that there wasn't any. There is. Like there is, and that's
But
okay.
I'm saying there's no ultimate repercussion to, there's no big force out there saying you can't stop. You know, you need a medical building to be able to go into to be able to stop your transition.
An entire That's not what I'm saying at all. An entire group that constantly tells you to keep going with it is.
I haven't
Do you
had,
know who Sophia Narwitz is, by the way, real quick? I mean, she's a great trans speaker. You should check her out sometime.
I'm sure there's a
She
lot of
even
good
talks about
trans
this.
speakers.
Well, I mean, she's the most controversial, and she's been torn down many a time for being like, "Hey, we have a really high suicide rate, mostly because they keep pushing people to transition who just turned it out to, not be trans."
I mean, if it doesn't make sense. Like, I don't see like that would just be like a different type of thing, and I don't see trans people being bullies, forcing people to trans. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, like, I don't know where
They
you're getting
attack
this.
anybody they just fucking disagree. And I don't mean that as trans people in general. I mean
No,
that
it
with the
sounds
entire LGBTQ like fucking whatever group in general.
they don't.
They do.
That is a very big generalization, and that's
Oh, whoa,
very
whoa, okay, okay,
very
okay.
very
In
media
Canada,
based.
all right, all right. No, no, no. Very media based. All right. In Canada, specifically, I know on a personal basis, a woman's home was attacked because a trans man was not given board to it because the man was put into the same room as a previous rape victim from the earlier night, and she had to leave. And then, in stating her issue with the situation, they burned it to the fucking ground.
Who's they?
What am I supposed to say to that?
Who's they?
What do you mean they?
Who burned down the building?
The community.
The community. So you know
They
everybody who was involved in that.
when you spray paint things on the side of a building like turfs and stuff, and then you burn it to the ground, what I'm saying is that it doesn't really send a very good message for your community. Now, does it?
It doesn't. But are you going to tell me that you're going to be able to tell me every list person who participated in that
Well, there are
and
police reports, so
who's
technically yes.
accountable? Okay, and so those people represent the entire LGBTQ.
No, 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 I don't think that they do, but I think that speaks to a greater problem within the community, does it not?
No, you
Really?
probably like it doesn't seem like you're
I
paying
find that
attention
very
to the.
hypocritical.
Well, that's the thing is like if somebody who's in the LGBT literally just doesn't do anything and lives their life, you're not going to hear about it. If somebody does something like that, you're obviously going to hear about it.
What do you mean? What do you mean you're not going to hear about it?
If I'm literally just living my life, minding my own business, going to my 9 to 5 job, coming home, eating supper, whatever, going to bed, you're not going to hear about it. You're not going to be like, oh, local trans woman does her life and lives a normal life and it's just so good. No, you're not going to hear it.
The
When
fact that you're here talking to me and now about it at this moment proves that wrong.
No, because I don't choose to live that normal life. I am choosing to be actively out there and representative of myself as well as community on a positive note to more or less maybe
There
counteract
are
what you were talking
parades
about.
constantly. There are
There's literally a parade once a year, but
it's
okay.
I mean, definitely not, but okay.
I mean, if you're going to attend every single parade in every single city throughout the entire year, then go for it. But I mean, for me,
Is
there's
that more
one
than
parade
one
a year.
parade then?
What?
Is that more than one parade then?
If your argument is kind of invalid because if I live in
My
Edmonton,
argument's invalid because I'm a cis white male.
no,
But
because if I lived in Edmonton and they had a parade and I lived and stayed in Edmonton, that's one parade.
all right. That's not even the point that I was attempting to make, but whatever. We'll go with that. We'll move off that one. Whatever floats your boat. There's more than one parade a year. Get over it. But here's the deal. Constantly, I see trans speakers and drag speakers in the community being like, "Hey, I really don't think that we should be pushing kids to be at these kind of events and stuff. I really don't think that we should be pushing, hormone blockers for people under the age of insert whatever you so wish here. We can talk about that later if you want. At these events and so on and so on. And and then they're just like attacked in these communities, and that's not cool.
I mean, I
Like
would
they
say that I've been in the community and have been part of it much longer than you. And the amount of that I see
the
is
fact
few
that
and
you
far
don't know who
apart.
Sophia Narwitz, one of the most uh we'll say controversial people in your community, is really speaks wonders to me. We'll say really speaks volumes. I don't understand how you don't know who she is.
How would I if I've never been exposed to her?
You're fucking kidding me, right?
Why did it take you so long to think of that? Like, what do you mean? If I've never, let me just go Google her right now. I've never heard her name before in my entire life, but yeah, sure. Let me just Google her and look her up.
This is like the funniest thing is that like I actually support the trans community. Like I'm totally down for it. Like I don't give a fuck. Whatever, man. It doesn't affect me. Like I don't give a fuck. But meanwhile, the highest suicide rate demographic in the world, while everybody supports them, and nobody sits there and looks and goes, well, maybe bullying isn't the problem. And then they just freak the fuck out and talk all this bullshit. I'm sure I'm gonna end up on some TikTok. I'm gonna have my whole fucking life canceled. I don't fucking care anymore. I want trans people to stop killing themselves. And you know what? You should probably listen to some of the major speakers in your group if that's the case. I know you're trying to do this like fucking high road bullshit, and you think that I'm like some abrasive like fucking loser cuck or some shit. Like I really don't care.
I mean,
I
you're
just
putting
don't
words in my mouth.
understand how you don't know how one of the major speakers of your group is, if that's the case.
I mean, you may think that she's major, but I listen to a lot of other people that are not that person that you probably don't know of either. And just because she's well known, it doesn't mean that her opinions are right or valid either.
Well, see, that's the thing about opinions. There is no right opinion. Opinions are opinions.
Okay. And so the fact that you're criticizing me for not knowing this person who has apparently a lot of opinions.
Well, no. Now I'm criticizing you for the fact that you're saying the right opinion. There is no right opinion. Opinions are opinions.
Okay.
Just the way that you said that already said. See, this is my thing, is that you're looking for an answer rather than looking for an understanding or common ground. And with that, you're always going to be fucked. And I could give a shit.
Okay.
The right opinion? What the fuck is that bullshit? Maybe she won't have the right opinion. This is fucking AIDS. I give up.
Very interesting choice of words.
What do you mean interesting choice of words? AIDS?
Okay.
HIV positive? One of the most like, horrific things to affect America.
Yeah, it's so funny that you can make a joke out of it.
Yes, I can, actually.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, 365,000 words, all that bullshit. I saw Rent Live, I did all that bullshit. So yeah, AIDS. And that wasn't a gay thing or anything like that. It was AIDS because cancer is something more personal to me. So I don't really, I don't know, personalize with it. So yeah, I'd use AIDS because everybody says AIDS or cancer. It's a meme, including in Canada. We're, we hang out with Canadian people every day on here.
Okay.
So yes, AIDS. No, that wasn't a jab at you. Get over it. The whole world doesn't revolve around you.
I'm not saying it was a jab about me because I've never experienced.
You're like interesting choice of words.
Yeah, it's kind of like using the R word or the N word, I suppose.
No. The R word is retard, Shifty. Jesus. My friend was just like, I'm curious what that word is. AIDS. AIDS is, what the fuck? AIDS is like one of the major things affecting any country today. But your group is specifically affected by that. I mean, you are specifically upset by that. All right. Well, here we go. Here we go. All right. No. We'll explain that real quick. All right. I know you think I talk over you and all this other bullshit. I only do it when you're saying something stupid. All right. So here's the deal. All right. Trans people make up for less than 1% of the population. Right.
I don't know what you
just said. The trans community makes up for how much of the population in Canada? Well, in America, they make up for less than 1%, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But in Africa, all right, 1 out of 5 people have AIDS. That eclipses the trans community. So I would say that AIDS, a global pandemic, is not something that you revolve around, okay?
And it's probably
get over it.
Something like you shouldn't joke about.
Well, we joke about things that are hard to make them easier. So when I say really, queen, like earlier, yeah, that was a jab at you because I find that funny.
Well, I'm literally
So
not the one who's...
what I thought is that you'd be upset with that earlier, but you think that you're upset with AIDS, which
You
is
keep saying
a
that.
global thing.
Do I look upset? Do I look worked up? The person who looks worked up right
You
now is
pointed it out
you.
and got upset about it. You pointed out and you're just like, great choice of words.
I didn't. My body didn't move. My facial expression did not move. It was the exact same
Yeah,
the
I
entire
know.
time.
But you pointed it out and you said that's a
Okay,
great choice of
but
words.
because I pointed out, that means that I'm, worked up and upset about
You
it.
didn't point out any other statement, so yes.
I'm simply stating the fact that, wow, that was an interesting choice of words.
Yeah.
And then you got worked up over it.
Well, I mean, I didn't get worked. I got worked up over it because I think it's funny that out of everything, you chose that to be like, whoa, buddy, that's not cool. Fucking hell.
Well, I get what you're trying to do. You're obviously trying to do all these things and like seem intelligent and like have all these
I'm not
like
trying to do
positive
anything. I
things,
have no angle.
but then you have a lot of controversial behaviors and things that you say.
I have no controversial opinions or behaviors. I want people to stop killing themselves.
It's been nothing but controversial. Like, why are you so...
I want people to stop killing themselves.
Okay, people in general, but why are you so focused on the trans people?
Because you're trans and you came to talk to me about this. I want trans people to stop killing themselves. They have the highest suicide demographic in the world. I want them to stop killing themselves.
Okay.
That's not a controversial statement.
How about you let me worry about that?
Then why would you talk to me about it?
You brought it up.
I did. Because you said that you wanted to talk about these issues.
Yeah.
Let me get this straight. Or you're hosting a show in which you want to talk to people about what they think about your community or whatever. All right. I know that you don't care what they think or whatever, but you want to talk about these views and stuff like that. Yeah, I support your community, but I think it has some horrific flaws. And I think that there are things that people keep glossing over and they continually get worse, such as the suicide rate.
Okay.
But my thing is that as soon as there's a topic that you disagree with or whatever on this thing in which you want to have an open platform to come to a better understanding of people, which you obviously don't because of these reasons, you're saying that what the fuck?
You're just so focused. You're
just like shutting it down.
Well, you're so focused on an issue that doesn't even concern you, for one.
It does concern me.
How?
Because dying people is bad.
Okay, so like, why don't you focus more on the people who have AIDS then? Since it's more of a global pandemic.
Because I can't focus on that within my state specifically. I don't have an interaction with those people.
There's a lot. Oh yeah, of course. There's lots of people who have AIDS and HIV in your.
Oh yeah, of course. So but I'm not interacting with somebody who has AIDS right now, am I?
Okay, so the issue only ever comes up if you're, specifically interacting with somebody of the cause.
Yes, so the issues in which you speak
all of
about.
A sudden, you take it upon yourself because you're talking to that person who never asked you to have a concern
the issues.
All of a sudden, you have a concern for it.
The issues that you're focused on generally do change with the people in which you're talking to, based on what they want to talk about.
Okay, like I don't see you like you want it to happening. Have you ever marched in your life or anything like that or
actually
raised
I have,
any money
or not.
Or any of that? Okay, when and where?
Well, I helped out an entire community that got burned down recently, so that was really nice.
The trans community?
Well, no, but you asked if I've ever marched or helped out anything in my life.
Yeah, obviously you know what I'm
specifically
talking about. You're saying I'm concerned and I'm expressing concern because I want this to change. What have you done to help the change?
Well, I got shut down at every turn by somebody like you. That's what I've done.
Interesting. Or are those attempts not
and got real? Told that it's none of my... You earlier just said that it's none of my concern.
Yeah,
did you not?
You're all words.
That's
and no
the answer
action.
that I've got everywhere.
You're all words and no action.
Well, I just spoke about my actions in other fronts, but this is what I don't get.
What actions did you perform?
These goalposts, these beers real quick, or these goalposts, all right? I go, this is really fucked up, and you go, that is really fucked up. And then I go, Yeah, I'm really concerned about it. Yeah, have you ever done anything like this? Well, actually, I have. Maybe maybe not specifically for your community, but I get shut down a lot in your community. Well, then you still should, but I don't think that you should be concerned about it. And then onward and onward and onward. You just told me that I shouldn't be concerned about your community whatsoever, and then you
Yeah,
stated, "What action have you done for it?"
because
So, what am I
you
supposed to do?
because
Am I supposed to act within your community or not be concerned?
because I'm calling you out on being concerned, which you're
This is
vocally concerned. Sure, you say I'm vocally concerned, but it stops there. That's it. You actually really don't care under all of that.
yeah, I've accepted them. I accept my trans friends, or friend, I should say, and I think that they're very nice, and I have no problem with them. And we've discussed issues like this in a much more civil manner and
Right.
welcoming manner.
So civil.
Like I don't understand what more you would want me to do than to be active and talk and make people feel welcome.
Well, that's definitely not the feeling I got when I started talking to
It's
you.
not like a poverty community where I can go out and build fences like I used to. That got burned down. But what would you so wish I do? You tell me what you would want me to do for that
I don't
community,
want you to do
specifically for that
anything. I
problem.
want you to do whatever you feel you want to
There's the
do and you feel
problem.
right.
It's just some hip. See, this is my thing. All right. You want to know why I'm so abrasive and all this other bullshit? You're some pseudo moralistic, nihilistic hypocrite. And you know why I said that it was for your monetary gain earlier, indirectly? Because it is.
Okay, and
It's some pseudo moralistic crap. Because here I am going, what can I do for your community? And you go, well, I don't want you to do anything. It's none of your concern.
and I specifically said
So
that
what
I
the
said
fuck would you
that
want me to do?
I called you out on the fact that you're literally all bark no bite. That's what I'm saying. You say I'm so concerned, but then when something happens, you're just like, oh,
Well, no. When something happens, I actively talk about it and try to come to a better understanding of it.
okay.
If I was
And
anti-trans, I'd be happy that the suicide rate is so low. I mean, so high, wouldn't I?
I mean, I don't think that a lot of
How
anti-trans
many
people.
fucking cis white males do you see sitting here going, "What can we do to help the suicide rate in the trans community?" I want an, I'd actually like an honest answer on that
You
one.
know, the first step is I've had quite a few people actually who are white cis males talk to me.
Talk about the suicide rate.
No, specifically just educate themselves on trans in general. Asking questions. What's it like to be trans? How is your life? What do you experience? You know, what made you decide? What is
How many
this,
have asked
that,
you
and
about
this?
the suicide rate in the trans community and what they can do to better it?
It doesn't start with that.
So see, here you are with all
You're
this all
literally,
bark no
it's like,
bite bullshit.
you're
No. You're
literally
right. It doesn't
somebody.
start with that, but I'm past that. All right.
It doesn't sound like you are. It really doesn't.
All right. Well, I am. So get over it. What do we do to help the suicide rate in the trans community? What can I do to help that? You're saying that I'm all bark no bite, but here I am asking these questions, and you're telling me
No,
to go fuck myself constantly.
I didn't say
Basically,
that. Putting words in my mouth.
you're saying it's
What
none
I'm
of my
saying,
concern.
yeah, it's none of your concern if you actually don't mean to have the concern.
Well, I do.
The best thing that you can do is be supportive, spread awareness, and educate people.
Well, here's the problem with
That's
that. I've educated myself on the subject and not come to a greater understanding of it.
okay. So you admit you haven't come to a greater understanding of it
Yes, because I've educated myself on the subject and there is no greater understanding of it. Why is the suicide rate so high?
because literally society is just not a great place for trans people. Not to mention the dysphoria. The dysphoria specifically is probably the number one factor.
What is dysphoria?
Dysphoria is
Gender
feeling,
dysphoria, like
yeah, feeling not like your body is alien to you, like it's you were given the wrong body, where you're
what would you categorize it though?
what?
Is it a mental disorder or is it a like what would you call it? I'm not calling it a mental disorder. I'm asking you what you would categorize it as.
I mean, I
Because then
wouldn't.
you can effectively go on for treating it or helping it.
Well, I wouldn't call it a mental disorder because if you treat a mental disorder, it's usually with things that alter the brain, such as antidepressants and all that stuff. So that's
Well,
not really
hormones
true.
do that.
They change like everything in your body in general. But I mean, I guess so if you want to say it that way.
No.
I don't see
Hormones
how.
hormones mentally change you quite a bit and change your brain structure quite a bit.
Okay. And so my
They
experience
do.
being on hormones has been
Actually, that's a great thing for me. And do you know who Alan Turing is? Well, Alan Turing was one of the earliest men to be transition using hormone therapy, and
okay.
he was actually forcefully done so because in his time, Alan Turing created the Turing machine. It changed the tide of war. Blah 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 blah. He's a huge World War II hero and stuff like that. The problem was is that he had a horrific form of autism, which he was a genius, but everybody thought that he was a homosexual. But the thing was is that he was actually asexual. He didn't have an understanding of what sex even could be. That doesn't matter. But what you need to understand is that he was forcefully transitioned using hormone therapy in a very early form, and it changed his brain structure. And if I remember correctly, he later killed himself.
Well, I mean, like I wouldn't if he wasn't meant to transition and he was forced to, then I don't know
Well,
what
he
else to
wasn't meant
say.
to do any. I mean, he was asexual. He didn't really. I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you completely. But what I'm saying, and my point was with all that is that it. I mean, you know, if you want to look it up or you know, if however you feel about it, that this isn't me being abrasive. I mean, if you don't take my word for it, it does change. It does change that.
Yeah.
It changes your brain structure.
And I would say I agree with that because myself personally being having that personal experience in it. What's with the body language?
Because you just earlier you were completely saying the opposite of that.
What?
Just, I mean, I didn't even catch it, but earlier you were just saying the complete opposite of that.
Which is what? What did
I
I
mean, we
say?
can roll it back if you want. That it just changes your body. It doesn't affect your brain at all.
Okay.
It doesn't affect your mind.
Okay, interesting enough that, as I was saying that you didn't pick up on the hesitation and then me almost like immediately after saying, you know what, actually, yeah, maybe it does. I'm not 100% sure. However,
All right.
and then was trying to talk about my personal
Let me get my
experience.
goalpost ready.
And then you talked over me before I could even finish talking about what I was talking about. So it's
You can't just use the excuse that you talked over me anytime that you stop talking and we have a civil, like,
that's the thing.
talk
That's
on
the
it.
thing.
And
You
then you
just keep
just go like,
going.
oh, no, I actually meant this.
No, I literally my discourse was, oh,
They have a
yes,
horrific effect on your brain.
It says no. I said it does stuff to my body. Yes. And then I was like, no, not really to my brain because I haven't really noticed anything change. And then I said, well, actually, my experience. And then you talked over me. And then I guess maybe you'll let me finish. I'm not sure. Yes. Will you allow me to finish? Okay. I'm taking silence as yes. My experience so far as hormones. What's with the body language? That's what I'm saying.
I'm
Like,
allowing you to finish. My thing is that the fact that you had to ask for it and then you go, your silence says yes or whatever. That I don't get it.
so that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the
You would just
conversation.
continue talking.
The conversation is not civil because it's not civil on your end. You have all these
Of course, it's not civil on
mannerisms,
my
body
end. You're
languages, and
spouting things that are not true and then backing
I
them
haven't
up and
even
saying,
finished
no,
what I've been
actually, I
able to
meant this.
say. You don't even let me finish what I. So what do you mean they're not true?
Okay.
How are they not true? I don't even get to finish what I'm saying.
Well, earlier you told me that there's only one March a year. And then I was like, well, that's not true. And then you said I cut you off. And I was just like, well, I cut you off because it's not true.
Because you're speaking semantics. What I'm saying, if you take a person of the LGBTQ who lives in a city their entire life and doesn't leave, they get one march a year.
That's not semantics. That's a lie.
What do you mean that's not a lie?
Is there more than one march a year?
You're literally picking at the stupidest
They can
details.
go onto Google and watch the other marches online. It's not 1965 anymore. They would know that there's more than one march a year.
Yeah, but they're not there actually physically experiencing it.
No, I understand, but that doesn't mean that they're just because they can't experience it. Okay. I personally like automotive racing, right? I personally can only see one race a year.
Wow,
That does not
interesting.
change the fact that there are not more than one races a year.
Okay, but for you, whatever's financially possible, for you, there is one race a year.
No,
No, why?
because there's more than one race in the country a year.
For you specifically. That's what I'm saying.
TV exists, radio exists, internet
Okay, so
exists.
you're gonna equate the fact that if you're in the stadium watching the race in person
If
with
Harvey
everybody in
Milk
the
could
crowd,
if Harvey Milk could walk in 6 fucking marathons every year, I think that everybody else could acknowledge the fact at least that there is more than one march a year. All right?
you're
Can we
arguing
get
something
past that
completely
stupid
separate.
bullshit?
You're
No,
complete.
that's not
Yes,
separate. There's
yes.
more than one march a year.
Obviously, I'm not fucking dumb. What I'm saying is that the person we're talking about in question, whatever individual in the LGBTQ, has one march a year. You're making it sound like this one person is literally going to every single city in the country to
No,
experience.
no.
That is exactly what you're arguing.
California has 6 marches a year.
I don't know about California.
Quebec has like
One.
I
Every
think
single
4.
every city in the every Canadian city has one Pride March in their city per year.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. I to my knowledge, and I guess I'm wrong. I thought that Quebec had 4 marches a year quarterly
No. They have a Pride
because I have
Month dedicated
I have
to, things like events and stuff,
all right.
but one specific day that is a march.
Well, my friend Wolf, online that I actually work with and stuff like that, who is, very openly gay and stuff, never shuts the fuck up about every march that he goes to, all 4 every year. So I guess I'm wrong, which is okay. He might be bullshitting me. He's kind of a bullshitter, so I believe it, to be honest. But I thought there were 4 every year, so I didn't know, and I apologize for that. He's also a furry, which I mean, I don't mind that, but he probably is full of shit. Not you. We're talking about Wolf. He actually just got his certification for his native status in Canada. I didn't know that you need a certification for that, but whatever.
Yes.
So he's really excited about that. I don't know why you need to be certified to be a native, but
There's lots
in
of
America,
racial.
you're just a native.
Well, there's just a lot of systematic, just about as much systematic racism in Canada than there is in the States. So
Well, I don't know. That's a conversation for the. I mean, me and him talk about it, the whole like $5 a year thing and stuff like that, because of the original deal and stuff like that, all the way back to what was it, like 1700 something? I can't remember, but I'm not super educated on that. What's up, Shifty? No. So every native, my friend Shifty's asking me a question. So every year they give every native in Canada $5 a year if they're certified as a native. It's more of a symbolism thing because originally, the deal back in, I think it was like, I want to say the late 1700s, but I'm probably wrong. They gave every one of them $5, and they were all like, "This is a steal," and Canada knew that they were fucking them over. And now they give every Canadian, they give every Canadian native $5 still as like as a symbolism thing, as well as like a bunch of other stuff, but it's like a symbolic thing. It's not like they give them $5 and they have to pay $5 to be a native. No, that would be fucked. That does sound like something that Canada would do. That's the Canadian native thing explained. I don't know. Just waiting.
For what?
I don't know. Whatever you'd like to talk about.
I mean, what? I don't know. I think that you have a certain type of way of arguing slash being. You have a way of mansplaining a lot of things, and
Mansplaining.
yeah,
No, there's a right and a wrong, and there's also a hypocritical backtrack. And
right,
my thing is that I am either right or I'm wrong,
right,
and I'm okay with that.
okay,
That's it. There's no mansplaining. There's like, oh, I'm wrong. I'll research that. That's it.
hmm,
There's no angle. There's nothing. There's no mansplaining or anything like that.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, you have a very controversial approach to a lot of things by the seams that sounds of it. So
I have a very
it's
what? I'm sorry. I didn't catch that.
controversial approach to a lot of things. So,
I disagree.
and also the fact that you don't really allow me to speak and completely finish a sentence is kind of irritating. So it's kind of difficult to start up a different topic.
I stop you when you say something that's bullshit. So
But that's your
sorry.
opinion.
It's not my opinion.
It sounds like it.
Well, for instance, using earlier as a example, when you say that there's only one march a year, yes, I will stop you because no, there is more than one march a year. No. Stating that somebody can only go to one march a year is also bullshit, but
Some people
that's why I
can.
would
Some people
stop
can't
you.
even go to one. Circumstantial. But if we're talking
All
about
right.
the average person within the community, it's one march a year for that person. In my entire lifetime, I've only ever been able to attend one march per year.
Well, I would be very confused as a cis white male if I've attended more marches. That'd be very awkward. Very weird, especially since I live in America on the East Coast.
Like, are you talking about more than me, or
Just based on what you've said, apparently.
yeah? So I went to a march last year once. I went to a march the year before that once, and the year before that once.
Okay.
One march a year.
I'm waiting.
I'm waiting to.
I just don't understand what that is supposed to mean.
I'm saying that myself as a person within the LGBTQIA have only ever had the opportunity my entire life to attend one march a year. If I could, with a snap, teleport to a different city and attend a different one, sure, I would.
What city are you from? Actually, you don't have to answer that if you don't want to.
I'm just from a small city.
Well, small city would mean that you would bridge a larger city, correct?
No,
Or other cities.
we have a march here.
Well, no, I understand, but a small city would mean that you would bridge other cities, correct?
No, the nearest city to my city is 8 hours away.
How do you have a small city and your nearest city is 8 hours away?
I mean, like we're 120,000, but
I can't think of any place in Canada that'd be like that.
Pretty unique.
Well, even Australia, the hellscape that it is, has cities that are closer than 8 hours away from one another.
Well, I mean, there's
Where
a city that's
America, like
there's a,
Houston,
there's a city that's 4 hours away, but that's not in Canada.
where's that at? Oh, okay, that'd probably be in America. That's kind of cool. And transitioning from Canada to America and then back again is actually very easy and free.
Not as easy as you think.
I think it's pretty easy because I've done it a few times now. But
I mean, it is easy, but it depends. My circumstance, we got randomly checked, and the people that were driving, they decided that they'd try to bring in some duty-free liquor or whatever that wasn't duty-free, like liquor that was duty-free, from a liquor store, and they got caught for it. And then everybody in the vehicle, including myself, got labeled for several years as problematic. So whenever I went over the border, I would always get checked and tagged and have to wait
sounds like
an
you
hour
need
or
some
two.
better friends.
Well, I mean, like it was like a circumstantial thing. I
Like fuck
guess.
those people. That's not cool. Well, I mean, my thing is to put other people in the vehicle at risk for something like that. It's really not cool. That's
But I
fucked
mean,
up.
like if anything, they were just trying to skirt the rules. So
I mean, that's a pretty big. You don't fuck with border rules.
well,
You
I
don't
mean, it
fuck
was
with
like
border laws.
if anything, it was like $20 or $30 value in terms of what they would have to pay for the duty. It was like,
Yeah, I know, but you. That's just something that you don't fuck with. Like it's such a small
but I mean, they
amount
tried
of
it.
money,
So
but such a big like consequence. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's just weird.
I guess that's how they learned, and I
Oh,
learned that too, but not that I was the cause of the issue.
I mean that's cool. I got the shakes. I'm all like out of it. Oof. Alcoholism. Never get into it.
Right? I don't drink.
As the world gets darker, I drink more.
See,
Yuri Beznomov warned us.
don't know who that.
He's I don't know. Look him up sometime. He's some guy who got asylum in America and wrote a bunch of books and shit.
Right?
Snowden. You know who he is? You don't know who Edward Snowden is? How about Julian Assange? Fucking hell. You know who
You could
Malcolm
ask.
X is?
You could ask. Isn't that like a rapper?
Oh my god.
I don't know.
One of the people who, you know, I would have been cool with everything else, but I actually want to die inside that you just stated that one of the biggest civil rights leader in the world was a rapper.
I don't care. I don't care for history or any of that stuff. Like that never interested me, so I don't see why it would be fair for you to criticize me for not knowing it.
Because the reason that I criticize you for not knowing it and why is because you attack me in stating that I should educate myself on these subjects. And meanwhile, educate myself on these subjects. So this is my problem, right? I can't win. Whether or not you want me to be civil, whether or not I educate myself on these subjects doesn't really matter, does it?
Well, it does. Like it depends on
Because no
what
matter
it's gonna.
how educated I am, it doesn't fucking matter.
I mean, it does. I mean, if you honestly just don't care and you have no opposition to it, but you honestly, I also don't care, then don't bother educating yourself on it because you don't need to. If it's not going to be part of your personal life or affect you in any way in your personal life, then go on about your life.
That doesn't make any sense.
Why?
Because acceptance comes through education, does it not?
Well, some people don't accept and also choose not to oppose.
That's not true.
Why?
Because people are afraid of what they're not educated on.
Not always.
Always.
There's a
Throughout
majority,
history,
yes.
yes.
Most people who do oppose, yes, are afraid, but there's people who
What
literally, legitimately just don't care.
just as you just said that as a majority, people who are uneducated are afraid of what they're not educated on.
Right?
So wouldn't you be more worried about the majority than the minority?
Well, that's the thing.
I'd be much 70% is much bigger percentage
you,
than 30%. I'd be worried about the 70.
Are you part of the majority or are you one of those people who just doesn't care?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, are you one of those people who, when uneducated, is fearful and oppositional to
Hold
people
on,
that you're
my
not
friends are
educated?
being fucking loud and autistic. Could you say that again? And I mean that. I apologize.
I I was saying that I track of that. Um, I was saying that would you say that you're the type of person who, when uneducated on something, will be oppositional to something or fearful if uneducated on said matter, or if something you're not educated on but really don't have any interest in, you just not care?
Nobody would know that until they've been come into contact with something that they either don't know or that they're educated on. Nobody would ever know that. For instance, the first time a man saw a wolf or a woman saw a wolf in the woods and they said, "I don't know what that is." They were afraid. You know what I mean? They didn't know they were afraid until they came to contact with it. They
Well, you're talking about like
My friend
primal
just said they
instinct.
thought it was a god, and that's true.
What?
Some of our ancestors and stuff thought that they were gods. They thought that there were these creatures that should be praised and stuff simply because they just didn't know what they were.
Right.
What I'm saying is that I I don't understand what you mean by that. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, you're talking about primal instinct at this point, like obviously fight or flight.
No,
Like coming into contact with a trans person is not a fight or flight situation.
but it is something that they don't know what it is or what it isn't. Correct.
Yeah, but
It
if
is
it turns
something
out,
that they're on. If what I was stating is that if they're uneducated on something, then they'll be afraid of it. And if they are educated on it, this is my thing: is that because I'm educated on it, which I don't consider myself to be educated on the subject in any way, shape, or form. But my thing is that because I criticize you doesn't mean that I am against you.
okay,
Criticizing a group does not mean that you're against it.
right,
In fact, I think that it would mean that you're more for it than people who don't criticize it because they want to see it succeed.
okay. But what I'm talking about is your wolf analogy, for example. That is a fight or flight because the wolf can be seen as a threat, whereas somebody encountering somebody like a trans person in public, I have no idea how that person can see that person as a threat.
People that were educated on wolves accepted them. People who weren't educated on them feared them.
I mean, I know wolves and stuff, and I
People
know
that
how.
are If I educate my children on trans people, then they'll accept them, correct?
Not necessarily.
Well, as a majority, they'll have a better understanding and a better capability to understand acceptance and do it right.
Yeah.
It'll be more likely.
Okay.
All right. If I don't know, my family's Polish. Go with that. All right, my family's Polish. They had never seen an African American man until 1950 some odd, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't say whether or not they were afraid of them or not, but my thing is that they were normalized. African Americans were a normalized group in America at that time, were they not?
Mm-hmm.
So there would be no reason to be feared or anything. I wish your group to be normalized. I wish you'd be accepted. I wish it to go forward. Because I criticize it does not mean I don't wish you to succeed.
You lost me on that one.
I wish for your group to be normalized and accepted so that you
I,
can
I don't
succeed
see I don't see what that had to do with your Polish parents coming to the States.
because they had never seen an African American, but they were normalized in the States so that the way they weren't feared because they said, oh, okay, everybody else is cool with these people.
Okay.
So we should be cool with these people.
Okay.
Just like I'm cool with these people. So if I teach my kids to be cool with these people, they'll be cool with those people, correct?
Right.
It comes from a group being cool with people.
Mm-hmm.
Monkey
And
see, monkey do,
that's pretty much all we're asking for in terms of support is normalizing it.
but no, not criticizing.
I mean, there's something to criticize in any group, so I mean, I don't know why not focus on some positive aspects instead of all the negative ones.
Because the negative ones are the ones that getting people killed and both matter. Both positives and negatives matter. You should never, never, never gloss over the negatives ever.
Not that I don't. I'm very aware of it.
No, I'm not saying that specifically you do, but I'm just saying like nobody should ever do that. As a group should not do that.
Right.
And people looking into a group shouldn't do that. I feel like due to your body language currently, you're not down for what I'm talking about, or you're not coming to an understanding of what I mean.
To be quite honest, I would discourse with you longer. It's just that I've been awake for.
I feel you look tired as shit, to be
I've been
honest.
awake for 21
No
hours.
offense. I know you got those fake lashes on, but it emphasizes how your eyelids are currently going.
Yeah. Well, I worked 8.5 hours and then I streamed for 7 hours, and I've been doing this for since 1 o'clock, so it's been 4 hours.
What's your stream? I'll check it out. I assume it's the name sitting right there.
Yeah.
This is how my life gets canceled. I'm
a
okay with
respectful
that.
person, and I don't really do that. If anything, what I would do is probably share with my friends to get opinions and see
I would
their
prefer you
aspect.
not to share anything that has to do with me,
Well, I mean, like I would do it in a private matter, like my
even in a
roommate
private
or-
matter. I won't share you with my trans friend. I might discuss some of the topics that we did, but I won't show your face, your name. I won't share your image, nothing like that. The conversation that I had with you is for a conversation with me and you alone. Whatever you're going to do, you're going to do. But I'd prefer if you didn't do that to me. But
All right, well, thanks for letting me know. I will actually take that into account.
will you take it into account, or will you actually do that?
Well, what I'm saying is that I'm a respectful person and I don't do things to intentionally harm or upset people. So because you said that, I probably won't.
Well, I mean, I hope that you don't. Probably is a odd way to phrase it, but I hope that you don't. But, you know, I don't know. I'm an abrasive, brash, and very straightforward person.
I've gathered
Just
that.
because I criticize a group does not mean I'm against it. I hope that your group does very well and stuff, but I think that it is so fucked beyond belief currently that everybody is so upset, and I don't know what to do. But my friend's doing really well, so I think that she's going to be great. So I'm okay with that.
Right. Well, I never had the opportunity to tell you how I'm doing, but I guess you didn't want to hear about it. So
I think that you're doing very well because if you weren't, you wouldn't hold your ground so hard and be so uppity about it. And I do not mean that in a negative way.
Right.
So you're obviously doing very well, or I don't know, emotionally you're probably fucked. I'm not saying I have you figured out or some bullshit like this, but I'm saying that I think that you'll be okay. You seem pretty strong in that aspect. All right, Chief. You look like you're killing it. Okay.
Right.
You got this.
Thanks.
Coming onto a Omegle and bitching at random people, I think you'll be all right.
I mean, I'm not the one doing the bitching.
You're coming onto a place where you're coming onto a place where you're obviously going to be criticized and you're putting yourself out there. I think you're going to be better than most. Okay.
I'm going to be what?
I think you're going to be better than most.
Like the people I'm interacting with?
No. I think that you're going to do really well in your
circumstance.
I mean, if you want to call it that.
Sure.
That was a compliment.
I got it. No, I worked that.
All right. Well, you have a good night. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Don't cancel me and ruin my life.
I won't, I promise.